possessed by jinn. Having said this, this happens very less. And this doesn't mean that everybody that claims to be possessed by a jinn is actually possessed. Now, one may question, okay, why do the jinns give taklif to human beings? Why do they possess human beings? Now, to understand this, you will have to understand, okay, human beings give taklif to human beings. You see humans fighting with one another. You see them arguing. You see them killing one another. Sometimes they do this for one reason or another, a valid reason. And sometimes there's no reason at all. You will see 3-4 boys ganging up on on a smaller one. Sometimes you see boys taking the mick or teasing some girl. The jinn are exactly the same. Sometimes they will trouble you for no reason whatsoever, just like they trouble Hazrat Abu Dujana radiallahu ta'ala an, a sahabi of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He says, I once complained to Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Ya Rasulullah, once I was lying down on my bed, all of a sudden, I heard this sariran ka sarir raha, this grinding noise like that of a hand mill, and this boiling, bubbling noise like that of a pot when it's cooking, and a flash like that of lightning. He says, I raised my head terrified, full of fear. I found myself in a black shadow which was becoming bigger and extending. I touched it and it felt like that, like the skin of a hedgehog. And it began to throw sparks at my face. And it was like as if it was going to burn me in my house. Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Amiru ka amirasu ya Abu Dujana wa Rabbil Kaaba. I swear by the Lord of Kaaba wa Abu Dujana, the jinn living in your house is a bad jinn. And somebody like you is being put into difficulty and is being troubled for no reason. Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam told Hazrat Abu Dujana radiallahu ta'ala anhu to bring a pen and paper, and he told Sayyidina Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu to write the following words. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. هذا كتاب من محمد رسول رب العالمين إلى من طرق الباب من العمار والزوار. أما بعد فإن لنا ولكم في الحق منع، فإن شك عاشقا مولعا أو فاجرا مقتحما أو زاعما حقا مبتلا، هذا كتاب الله ينطق علينا وعليكم بالحق، إنا كنا نستنسخ ما كنتم تعملون ورسلنا يكتبون ما تكتمون. اتركوا صاحب كتاب هذا وانطلقوا إلى عبدة الأصنام وإلى من يزعم أن مع الله إلها آخر لا إله إلا هو، كل شيء حالك إلا وجهه، له الحكم وإليه ترجعون. تغلبون حاميم لا تنصرون، حامين عين سين قاف. تفرك أعداء الله وبلغت حجة الله ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله فسيكفيكهم الله وهو السميع العليم. Nabi Kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam wrote this letter, which you can find in Bayhaqi, and gave it to Hazrat Abu Dujana radiallahu ta'ala an. Hazrat Abu Dujana radiallahu ta'ala anhu says, I took this letter of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, I placed it under my pillow and went to sleep. That very night, I woke up by the screaming of the jinn, who began to scream and say, O Abu Dujana, by the idols Lat and Uzza, you have burnt us. We beg you, take away this letter. Take away this letter. We will never return to your house, and we will never return to your neighborhood, and we will never return to any house which has this letter. So sometimes the jinn give you taklif for no reason whatsoever. And sometimes, believe it or not, they give you taklif and trouble because they like you. They love you. In the Tazkirah of Al-Hamduniyah, it is related that a woman was possessed by a jinn. Something was read upon her so that the jinn appears. He was asked, are you a Muslim, a Jew or a Christian? He replied, I'm a Muslim. He was then asked, كيف استحللت أن تتعرض لأهلي وأنا مسلم مثلك? Then why do you give trouble to my wife, yet I am a Muslim like you? And he replied, that I love her like you, I also love her like you. He was then asked, where are you from? He replied, Jurjan. Yeah, he was asked, why did you throw her down? He replied, because she walks inside the house without a scarf on her head. This might scare our sisters and might make them put their scarves on their heads whilst they're inside the house. So he said, because she walks in the house without covering her head. It was said to him that if this is how much ghairat you had, then why didn't you bring her one from Jurjan? So sometimes the jinn give you trouble and taklif because they like you. And sometimes they do it because they dislike you. Hussein ibn Abd al-Rahman relates that I was in Mina and I saw this man. He kept on having fits. Every time he wants to read salah or remember Allah, make zikr, he has a fit. He says, I said to the jinn that were inside him, that if you are Christian, then I ask you for the sake of Isa. If you are Jews, then I ask you for the sake of Musa. And if you are Muslim, then I ask you for the sake of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that leave him. They replied, we are not Christians or Jews. We found this man that he dislikes Shaykhain, and he says evil things about Sayyidina Abu Bakr and Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhuma, and we warn them, and he doesn't refrain. This is why we are troubling him. So sometimes they do it because they dislike you. And many a time, they may do it because you've probably done something to them, and they take revenge. And because there is a lot of ignorance amongst them, a lot of jihalat, they take revenge in a very severe manner, and they punish you more than that you punish them. You may have, for example, thrown some water on them without even realizing, or may have urinated on them without even realizing. And because of this, the jinn will take revenge and sometimes punish the human being more than what he deserves. So these are the general reasons as to why the jinn give taklif. Now I finish off by saying that one should make the habit of reading ta'awudh, as this has been taught, as this is what the Quran teaches. وَإِمَّا يَنزَغَنَّكَ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ نَزْغٌ فَاسْتَعِذْ بِاللَّهِ إِنَّهُ السَّمِيعُ الْعَلِيمُ. This will protect him from the jinn and the evil, the reciting of ta'awudh, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. Further, one should make the habit of reciting the mu'awwazatayn, قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ, the whole surah, قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ, the whole surah, as this was a practice of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he sallallahu alaihi wasallam would also recite this on his grandsons, Hazrat Hassan and Hazrat Hussein radiyallahu ta'ala anhuma. Likewise, one should have Ayatul Kursi inside his heart, as this will also protect him from the jinn. And he should also recite Surah Baqarah inside his house, or at least the last verses of Surah Baqarah. This will protect him from the jinn and their evil. If somebody has athar or somebody is possessed, then he should refer to Al-Hisn Al-Hasin. In it there is an amal of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and things that which should be recited onto him. And you can refer to Al-Hisn Al-Hasin and Amal Al-Yawma Wal-Layla yourselves. This was a very brief history of the jinn. And this is where I conclude my talk. Allah give me the tawfiq to convey the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulullah. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.